InShalla. Excuse me and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. Do you have any energy bunnies out there? Energizers, the Energizer Bunny. So we have what's known as a purebred day. So you might just be feeling the intensity of that Aries energy, the Mars frequency. So be kind to yourself as you begin to apply that inner new way of being. Mars is in Aquarius at the same purebred degree. So this shows the action that we should take should be in alignment with our heart in order for us to kind of commit to it. So it feels a little bit like a new vibration, a new frequency. So it's like, where are we vibing at that is new? But welcome to today's Daily Snippet. Once again, I am your host. I am a practicing holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon, merging these indigenous technologies, the wisdom of the spirit within the Dagara tribe from Burkina Faso, with the subtle energies, elements, and elemental beings, basically from the elemental realm into the imaginal, with offerings, rituals, and prescriptions to add to your personal container, your juice, your secret sauce. But my intention really is to truly merge these in wisdom of these indigenous technologies with the subtle realms out into the etheric highway to assist you into navigating your prime directive, your inner genius, reintroducing you to and through the magical being that resides within you, each and every one of us. But my name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. And if you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D, and hit the bell button so you're notified. And also, if you don't mind liking or sharing the videos, so the YouTube algorithm will echo me out to suggest me to like-minded users like yourself out into the galactic universe, along with other social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and my podcast, Musing with Tonya D. But oh my gosh, my studio is cold. We went from the 80s back to a winter snowstorm. So it's no wonder spring here in Utah is so confused on what to do. It's like, do the plants burst forth or did they stay in hibernation like a bear? Utah really does have 4 seasons in one day. But being that the moon is in the season of Pisces, our subconscious is illuminated or illuminating, just depending where the moon is transiting on your cosmic highway. So you might go down a subconscious kind of memory lane, but either way, be compassionate, be kind, be forgiving as we balance this duality of our new image and our character. So we are becoming a new version of ourselves, and the shift is really on its way. Our root center is on hyperdrive, so you might find that you have some excess energy to burn off today. So really do something productive to burn off that juice. Go for a walk, go for a hike, do some cardio, yoga. Any Pilates people out there? I'm not really a Pilates person, but weightlifting, Tai Chi, whatever really gets you in the flow. Because our heart is what feels and also what knows, and our mind is like the questioner of our curiosity. So it's like when you're creating something from scratch and you get that inner knowing or the feeling that it just might need some more ingredients. But what are those ingredients, you know? What should we add to the cosmic soup? And we're not quite sure what they should be, you know. Sometimes we need more testers. And I'm always asking myself, what do you think about this? So it's like we invite others into test the waters, tread the frequency. It's like, you know, what do you think about this? So in treading the waters, sometimes we don't find it very fun where other people love it. So organically, you know, our wealth really is in our health, but being that our pure root center is online, we're moving to a new frequency, within our integrity of who we are. So with all of these other planets in the cosmic soup, heading into this new moon, Chiron, Mercury, the sun, the moon, of course. So it's like we're healing the wounds. That's going to be the end result. This one is actually our inner wound. So I sometimes see the wounds as a magic that we carry within us. It's like the blessing on the other side. So if one can remove the face of the wound, generally the person, and sit with the feeling, the light, and have that conversation with it, sometimes a new perspective comes to light. But with the frequency of today, I am just using the forces of creation, the elemental forces within the messages on the cosmic highway. So with that, ding, ding, ding. I should do my own tonalities. However, oh, let me get rid of this little juicy guy. There we go. Too many things to play with for me some days. But first we have water. Water is our emotional realm, which is fluid. It flows within our life. It keeps things supple. It's moist. It's alive. It's growing. But without water and our emotional realm, you know, our innate nature can become somewhat dry, brittle, or hard, like ground without the rain. It's like a desert, right? We need to quench our thirst, or our emotions at the very least. But we need the rich substance of our feelings to keep our life lush and growing and just in the flow. So the element of water is where the soul essence of love exists. So the clearer our emotions are, the more space there is for love to move into our life or move in life. So it's the emotional realm where we learn to love ourselves fully, nurture and heal our inner child, our inner baby. Just creating a space for clarity and flow and more love, because that truly is the corridor, to move freely within our relationships to ourselves and to the other. But it's also here that we learn emotional maturity, to really care for ourselves emotionally, how to respond to instead of react to life, ourselves, and the others. So water is teaching us today about pace, the winding rivers, if you will, the calm, still lakes, rushing waterfalls, a calm ocean, or even a tidal wave. So if you like the intensity of a rushing waterfall, you may be questioning why things are moving so slow when your life is calm and still, or gently traveling down the stream, merrily, merrily down the stream. That's kind of what that reminds me of. Or at other times, when experiencing a tidal wave or the intensity, you want things to feel or be calmer. So the understanding water reveals to us is to allow the emotional energy that's moving through us at any given time to simply be what it is. So we kind of need to learn to work within the pace of our emotions. So today, since we got water, what does water want to share with us today about the pace of our emotions? So are we being compassionate to ourselves? Are we being forgiving? Are we being kind? You know, that really is the inner baby. It is the moon, right? Super frequency juicy there. And then we have fire, which I found curious as well. And fire is like, because we're having a purebred fire of a day, fire is the action. It's the power of action in the realm of action. It's where we learn. It's here. It's the dynamic. It's to claim our personal power, to let our light shine bright, to feel passion about life. But it's also a great teacher, as all the elementals are, the teacher about the mysteries of transformation, like literally changing form, dying of an old part of ourself and being born new. But it's also a raging fire. It's violent in a way. It can be volatile in a realm. So often people express their fear of it getting out of control, raging out of control. However, once we learn to work with fire, it actually is a skill, one that requires us to be focused and conscious within our foraging. So balance really is the key when working with fire. We don't need a lot of fire, but it's teaching us to live in a dynamic, charismatic, powerful, passionate way of being within our own radiant core, just working effectively with fire or on the path of fire. And in the Dagara, we're in a fire year, so fire, right? But it requires that we honor the sacred within the teachings, within our own innate fire, within the tool of that. Just finding ways to merge the gifts, the messages from the other realms with our everyday awareness, our consciousness. So it teaches us the power of our will when it's applied to our actions, our determination, the energy, kind of a fixed purpose. I'm thinking of like a welder with a fire shaping something, but it really helps us to move forward into alignment with our desires and just staying focused on our course, where we're going. So balance really is the key with all the uses of fire. So misaligned will or the overused will can be harmful or keep us stuck into something that it may be time to let go of. So learning the right use of fire, the right time, and to use our will in alignment with the divine, that's kind of a core fire path kind of teaching, if you will. So the question I would ask myself, is it time to use more will and determination to achieve our desires? Or do we need to align our will further with the will of the divine or the divine will? So there's possibilities, right? Endless possibilities. So fire, just transmuting and transforming with fire. And all the elements can transmute and transform. It's just they do it differently. And then we have spirit, the divine masculine. So this is the spiritual realm. That really is our connection to the divine, the oneness, the great spirit, whatever resonates with you. But it's the spark of spirit that each and every one of us has. It's our connection to the goddess or the god, the connection to spirit. It's also where the energy of creation lives. I see the tree of life or the tree of knowledge. It's our inner connection to spirit. It's guiding us throughout all of life to bring out our own essence into its fullest expression, out into the world, into the earth plane. It's our prime directive, our inner genius. So we go from being in the flow, getting our pace, and we are real fire, right? We're in the essence of Aries, and today is that root center activated, highly activated. So spirit in itself is just another rich ingredient, a substance that flows through, and it connects to all of the elementals. That's why it's so exciting. So it's earth, it's water, it's nature, it's air, fire, star, ether, etc., etc. There is so much. It's the bounty. And spirit really enables all of the elementals and the elements to hold our world into form, both the outer realm and the inner realm. It really is this unseen ingredient. When the elements work together in any creation, when we sit quietly out in nature, just reflecting on our own inner nature, our authenticity, we can feel the substance, that main ingredient of spirit. And even in different cultures, there are different expressions of the divine masculine, God. He is Osiris, Yahweh, Allah, Shiva, Odin, the green man, which I just talked about in my nature portal, and many other names. But in a variety of traditions, he is also the masculine counterpart to the goddess. So this is like, to me, it's the sun and the moon in a way. But in different periods of the story, if you will, the divine couple worked in balanced unison expression in the sacred union, if you will. So the divine masculine has this unique expression. It's an important connection for both men and women, balancing the two. So in what ways does the divine masculine want to share his expression with us? So do we need any healing around what the divine masculine is? I'm sure I do. The possibilities are kind of endless. And I called on Archangel Ariel yesterday. I was at the pet hospital. And sometimes just saying, it was like, wow. The elementals. Super magical day to have them in today. But on the elemental highway even, we have a young water horse of a day, a Ren Wu. And look at all the water on the heavenly stems. Whew! It's like no wonder our first card was water, right? But our day born in the month of the rabbit, it's the peak of the spring season. The element of wood is absolutely 100% the strongest. But being that the wood element is so strong, this makes the element of metal weak, which then means our young water, our day, is actually weak as well because it lacks the support. That's the metal energy, is support for water. So really, though, we have a lot of water on the stems, and the earth, which we don't really have any of, is useful. It's a useful element to bring stability, calmness, and direction, especially to all that water. So yang water is water that rushes from the river. So a yang water person, they go after what they want despite any obstacles. They're very well liked because they don't crush what's blocking their way. They merely, they look for an alternate route to adapt. It's like being on the highway and you got a diversion because there's an accident. So you just divert and go a new path. So people that are born under this particular day master, they actually have a lot of brain power, if you will. They're very flexible in the way they think, and they find inspiration within everything they see. They see the good and the gooder, and they make the greatest of entrepreneurs. I shouldn't say the greatest, but they make great entrepreneurs. So these people always have something going on. And in the same way that water runs deep, it's consistent. So they're not the type who's going to sit on the sidelines. They want to socialize. They want to be active participants. But they also love their freedom, which includes going on adventures, seeking new heights. And once something prohibits them from enjoying their freedom, that's when they might react with a bad temper. Water is also fear, the emotional side of fear. So every water surface needs kind of boundaries, if this is your element. So without the boundary, they flood all over the place, becoming useless in the end. And they're kind of dangerous to their surroundings. If you see like a flash flood, right? Takes out everything in its way. So despite them being these free spirits, people under this particular day master, the young water, they want all things to be in a proper order. They're gifted with analytical and logical abilities. They can see things from all angles. They literally see the big picture without being hampered by their emotions. So they're always kind of ahead of the trends as well, everybody else, because they have this ability to give the task, whatever's in front of them, their full authentic attention, so they can provide solutions to problems quicker than everybody else. So these people can think without being clouded with their emotions. Even though those with a weaker young water element, they might struggle to achieve the balance between feelings and reason. So just like deep ocean water, which contains many secrets, unexplored areas, young water people have deep memories, stored information, which is kind of reserved for the things that are important to them. So they have this methodical, kind of systematic approach to things. They can finish tasks efficiently, get them done, but they can also summon the details from memory, the memory in their bones. But given how analytical they kind of are, they're also meticulous, and they need to make a decision with detail and care. They consider everything. Even if they think fast, they don't base decisions on impulse. They really kind of take their time, which in itself can also be a problem because then they tend to overanalyze everything. So given that they're very gifted with this intelligence that's otherworldly, they can also be too conscious about how other people see them. Often they need the approval of their surroundings, their environment, to be confident about who they are. So these people are very conscious about their status. Sometimes they feel inferior when they're not holding the highest position, when they're not on top or the top dog. This is when they shy away from the world. So they kind of have sometimes an inferiority complex, but by nature, they're very driven. They're very motivated. Just think of like water after the spring melting. It's like a force, right? So even if they do undergo moments of low self-esteem, they literally will bounce back. They become better people. So the act of doing something is really enough to boost their enthusiasm. So they always feel the need to solve, be the solution to any problem, overcome any obstacle. So water itself needs constant movement. Otherwise, it gets stuck. It becomes stale. So these people are feeling the best when they are onto something and it involves the physical movement. So being that our day, even though it appears strong, it's actually weak in the season of the rabbit, the month there. So metal will make our day stronger, especially yang metal. So when yang water is overwhelmed, they become directionless. They flood all over the place. So they do need yang earth, the mountain, to set up those boundaries to protect the water from flooding and just taking over. Yin earth isn't as effective because it makes the water muddy. It's clouding up these emotions. So yang water people they're very rich with information. Like the ocean, they can keep a lot of secrets in their depths, and they're able to collect and store just massive amounts of information. To me, it kind of reminds me of a computer where you need water to keep it cooled down. But when they do that, this information, it's like the rabbit that's pulling everything out of the hat. They can pull whatever they need out of that hat. They're often interested in business, especially if they're in contact with a yang fire element person, a yang fire day master, which gives them the speed. Fire is speed, it's fast, it's friction, and it reacts to things. It can execute those ideas. So yang water is constantly moving. It's difficult to restrain them. They enjoy being free. They sometimes can go out of control, as we all can, right? But they have to learn how to be peaceful as well. So being that our day is weak, it's not really in contact with any earth. Yin earth is going to actually make them dirty and muddy and negatively reflecting on their emotions and their health. Excellent at being a copycatter, if you don't mind me saying, but they only need to see things once because it's in the memory. So they're already on their way to reproduce something. That's how their brilliance. It's people. Oh gosh, yeah, their memory. They read a book once and they know every word. They kind of remind me of kids, autistic kids. They see something once and it's ingrained. And this is actually shown the best with Bill Gates, how Bill Gates he's a yang water day master element. He copied operating software from Apple, from Steve Jobs, who is actually a yang fire element. So that kind of gives you an idea. So yang water absorbs and reflects the light of the yang fire to reproduce a new business. So yang water is fast to react, it's adaptable, it's intelligent, it's adventurous, has big visions. I would say realistic in some ways, but quick to adopt different skills. So that's where the copycatting kind of comes in. So other people besides Bill Gates, we have Freddie Mercury, Robert Redford, Robin Williams, which I found curious, Tom Cruise, Chris Rock. So just to name a few people with this day master, and think of Robin Williams. He was great at copycatting people with his humor, right? So the action or the will of the divine today makes the habit that we have been filtering through, it's part of a pattern. So we're kind of upgrading our authentic self to the being that we're threading to become out into the future, our future self. So it's like what matters the most is the action that we take hold of and how we treat ourselves. So react in kind. So just becoming aware of how we treat ourselves on the daily, on the day-to-day. I'm always thinking Job, the patience of Job on the daily. But then again, maybe that patience is what's in the way of my growth. Just filtering through those intentions. We have the new moon coming up here soon. So we have all of these ingredients in our cosmic soup to create a new habit in our soul story to become something new, something fresh. As we stir the cosmic pot, just pay attention to the intentions that you have been adding to your own personal cosmic soup. They're going to be echoing out into the future with who we are becoming. So I would start a new routine or a habit today that really uplifts your being, your spirit, the self. The prime directive is literally online. An otherworldly intention that isn't so easy to end, where our soul might be nagging at us tomorrow if we consciously choose to end or start a new ritual today. So it's like in the spring, we have the growth. So things that are bursting through at the seams, just busting at the seams, right? So we really are climbing into our skin, who we are authentically. We're setting our prime directive, the stage, the scene, whether you are aware of it or not. The things that we have been filtering through since the beginning of the Aries season, leaving the past hiccups behind in the Pisces season by walking our talk and putting our message where our mouth is. So the change is taking form that we can begin this inner journey of transformation. The fire transforms, or at the very least, discovering who we are. So becoming that master artist, the inner stage that we are, changing the stage, moving forward with our plans, taking that action, creating a habit that really reflects what our heart believes. So it's no longer vibrating to continue any of those heartless connections that we may have. Sometimes we do that just to save grace in a way, but it's not really saving anything. So it's time to connect with people, places, situations, things that we really have a heartfelt connection with. Just enforcing new boundaries. We need the mountain today of how we react and how we treat ourselves. And just remember to flow the pace of water, flow with what our heart truly does believe. That's our acumen. So we may feel the currents being fast paced like water. Maybe we feel like fire, determined, having the willpower. So take the time, take the breath, take the pause, have some space, sacred space with yourself, and reflect like water before acting, and really make it a magical day. So the sound of earth is the Oooooo, the Mongolian rock band that is needed for today. They're in the show notes, but I love the Oooooo. That's the best way to describe the tonality of earth. It's a guttural throat sound. The horse is actually freedom, by the way, fire, inner fire, freedom. And the seed sound for the root is the Lam. So if you feel as if you're filtering through some emotions, I would chant these sounds. Smile on the outside, you can chant on the inside. Grounding our emotions into the realm of the physical, manifesting into the physical, the action, our new habit, a new ritual, a new intention is literally on the horizon of who we are becoming. So it's a magical day to stop the trends that are no longer fitting who you are, climbing into our skin truly, and having the willpower of spirit. We have all this today. So I would affirm that I am in alignment with my inner genius, flowing with my spirit and elevating, like fire elevates, right? My heartfelt intentions. So with all of that, make it a creative, insightful day. And I will see you on the other side. InShalla and Ashe. As always, blessings to you.